Maybe we can edit in the first part of the story early on. So anyway, and so some of you, I don't know if we have any TikTok fans here. If anybody actually knows who I'm talking about, this woman on TikTok, I'm absolutely addicted to her and her mini farms and things. Put it in the chat. If anybody else can relate, if you remember her name, I'll send you a coffee card without looking it up if you put it in soon. Or maybe I'm the only one, the crazy one watching this woman. But anyway, back to the story. So the farmer gets distracted. He gets so wrapped up in the animals that he neglects the fields. He's counting on rain to water things, and it's kind of a dry summer. He forgets to protect the plants from the insects, the deer, whatever pests are roaming around the fields and eating the plants. And then he starts to think to himself, oh, heck, what was I thinking? Imagining I could start from scratch and that I could grow all of these amazing vegetables and herbs. Who am I to fight nature when it is this super dry summer? This just wasn't meant to be. And let's hope he doesn't have that same attitude toward the animals. So what happens? What happens is this. How sad, right? He's not going to this. He's stuck with this. Maybe some of you can see where I'm going with this here. Imagine this initial plan for the farm is the business owner's marketing plan. It outlines his strategy for achieving a successful harvest. He's excited about it. And in that excitement, he plants the seeds according to the plan. But then guess what? Having the plan turned out not to be enough. The farmer still has to make the time, right, to till the soil, to plant the seeds, to water them regularly, to protect them from pests. Um, that's the implementation of the plan. And without that dedicated, consistent time and effort, his plants are worthless. His field stays barren. He's actually in the hole because now everything has gone to waste that he's invested so far. Furthermore, the farmer needs to have the right mindset, right? Being willing to give up that fast and not believe he could really make this farm thrive from the beginning, that farm really didn't have much of a chance. He has to have believed that his hard work will pay off and that he will see the fruits of his labor, pun intended there, right? If he plants the seeds but doubts they will grow, he might neglect his duties or give up too soon. His mindset is crucial for maintaining that commitment and perseverance, even when these challenges arise. So, similarly, in business, having a marketing plan, it's like that farmer's map. It is critical that it's critical itself because it gives that direction and that clarity, but to really see the results, you need to allocate the time to execute the plan and execute it consistently over time, while also maintaining a mindset that this is really going to work, right? Believing in your goals, seeing yourself in your version of that farmer's market, right? Your version of what this is leading to, envisioning that every single week, envisioning your bank account growing along the way, right? To see that. It's only when you have all of those elements that you can expect to see a successful harvest in your business. Would you agree? Yeah. Yeah. And welcome, Michael and Daniela. So good to have you both here with us as well. I tell you what, oh, Allison, the box prices for the vegetables, they're way better here in Door County than is St. Charles. Yeah, I imagine they are. Well, I tell you what I've learned from my 24 years of business ownership and from coaching other service-based business owners and sales professionals to rapidly grow theirs as well, is that it really is a combination of those three main factors that, when applied consistently, lead to the profitability and growth that you're looking for. So I call this my 3M process, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So I realize this is not on full screen, and that's because I want to jump around to a few different tabs here. But I think you can all see this screen, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So the 3M process, these three M's are number one, marketing. It is so necessary. You have to be out there sharing about your work, getting more people to know about you, getting those people or businesses to like and appreciate what you're offering and having them trust you enough to purchase from you. But what exactly are those marketing activities that lead to that know, like, and trust factor? That's part of what we're going to be discussing today and diving into a little bit more. The second M, management of self and one's own activities. I say this over and over again. The best marketing plan in the world, even a plan that you might have crafted with me on a VIP planning day or in a half day profitability intensive, right? The best marketing plan in the world just won't work if it's not implemented and implemented consistently. And what that takes is your own management of self, managing your own time, your priorities, being focused, being as productive as possible. So we're going to get into the second two M's tomorrow, but keep in mind that these all work together. And of course, mindset, as I mentioned, believing in yourself and knowing that you can create the business that you dream of. Think about this. If you go into a sales call or you create a video, or maybe you write an email asking someone to meet with you, and you're feeling a bit desperate, say for a sale, maybe you're lacking in confidence in your ability to sell, maybe you're worried, maybe you're anxious about your business, or maybe about your expertise. Maybe you're even sometimes dreading the upcoming interaction. You get so nervous about these, that energy can come through and can hurt your business. So it's really vital to pay attention to that third M as well and shift into that mindset of abundance, of prosperity, of optimism, of I've got this. And have some fun with the process too, right? We've created these businesses, we're doing this work. We want to have some fun with it as well. And that comes across when you're experiencing that, as well as that passion that you have for your work and how important it is in helping others, really embracing that you're coming from a place of service in the provision of the services within your business. That's also important in your mindset. So that's why we're going to be covering all three of these elements. And another question for you by a show of hands, I can at least see you all. Who's ready for a bountiful harvest in your business this year? Heck yes. Yes, absolutely. I love it. All right. So there are a few people here who may not know me. I'll just very quickly tell you a little bit about me. I'm Connie Whitesell. I'm the founder of Scattered to Streamline Business Coaching. To put what I do simply is I help primarily solo-based service providers who are under earning and overworking. I help them break through their tend to get a little stuck in their revenue levels to help them reach their first six-figure year and then beyond, while finding more time to do what they love. Right. So we work to live, not the other way around. And that's really important for me and for my clients to experience. So I'm here today to share some of those ways that I do that. Now, a few preliminary things that I'd like to cover. Please have something to write on or take notes on. There is a fillable workbook that's been provided in the after you registered for the program. You can use that with this program, but it's not necessary if as long as you've got something to write on. And Kevin, if you wouldn't mind just putting in the chat a link to that workbook, just in case there's somebody here who wasn't able to access that. As soon as you download it and save it, you can fill it out yourself, or you can print it and handwrite in that. Just there we go. Thank you so much, Kevin. Allison, the mindset is the hardest to keep positive, especially when there's so much effort without revenue. I agree. I agree. And that's why it is so important. It's like exercising, right? It's like exercising your muscles, exercising your brain and your emotional muscles, rewiring the brain so that we can embrace that mindset even when times get tough. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so having something to write on. If you have a question or comment as I'm going through, just go ahead and raise your Zoom hand. You can put it in the chat. I'm not so great about working with the chat when I've got sharing the slides. So just go ahead and raise your Zoom hand. But also know that I've set aside time after the session. I think you all are aware of this. I've set an additional half hour if needed for some extra time to talk through any questions that you might have particular to your own situation. So you may want to save them for that as well. Thirdly, be here. You committed to learning more about how to grow your business. I'm here to give you my all. So give it your all and really be here with me and the others. I encourage you, if you can, to be on video, engage, turn off the other devices. Believe me, I know it is so easy to get distracted. So you gave yourself the gift of this time. So I really encourage you to embrace it and get the most out of this. And finally, you're going to hear about some prize opportunities here. I am not the least above bribery for helping people get things done. So pay attention and stick around to the end to have a chance at those as well. All right, let's dive into the first M, that marketing. That's beginning with that seed plan, that marketing element. And I don't know why this farming is resonating with me. I don't come from farm country or farm people, but we did recently buy 5 acres, so maybe there's something going on subconsciously here or something. But anyway, marketing. Different marketing activities work better for different businesses. There is absolutely no one size fits all formula. There may be some things that work more for a variety of businesses, but I tell you what, there is not one thing where if you're hearing somebody say that, it's all the SEO, you've got to make sure the SEO is completely optimized, or video marketing is the way to go, or TikTok is the place to be to grow your business. If somebody tells you there's just one way, frankly, run for the hills, because that's only going to work if they just happen to guess right for you. The key here is finding the right marketing activities for your business, and not just for your business, but that use your own personal strengths, right? So that you're so much more likely to do them and do them consistently, and then create a plan for their execution. Now, a couple of assumptions I have for you here. I am assuming, just in the interest of time, that you already provide a high quality product or service, and it's priced and packaged right in a way that you're happy with, and hopefully your ideal clients and customers are as well. And that number two, you know who your ideal client or customer is and can describe them easily. Now, in my 12-week program, my Streamlined Revenue Accelerator, which some of you have participated in already, I call it SRA. You'll be hearing me reference this throughout today's session and telling you a bit more about later. During that, I do work with you one-to-one to ensure that both of these statements are clarified and true. But of course, in the interest of time, we could be talking about marketing all day. There's so much great stuff to explore. And I know we've got some marketing experts in here as well, so I'm sure you'll agree. So we're going to talk about some particular elements of marketing here. Now, if you're reading these and you're like, oh no, that's not me, I'm not there yet, I encourage you, stay here anyway. You will still have plenty of takeaways with this. All right, I want to start with a principle called the Pareto principle, which states that, and I know some of you are familiar with this either from my programs or from some coaching programs that I've run before. The Pareto principle states that roughly 80% of our outcomes come from 20% of our inputs. So in business, this natural principle also applies. In this case, and when I'm talking about marketing, it really means that 80% of our clients and customers typically come from 20% of our marketing activities. So if you've been in business for a while, which I think quite a few of you have who are here, you'll often find that there's just a small number, really, of marketing activities that you perform that result in the most amount of business for you. So if you really think about that and figure out what those activities are and focus your time, your energy, and your money here, that's where you're going to see the results. It's really such a basic principle, yet I often see people spreading themselves way too thin, trying to do more with little in the way of results. Kind of that whole throwing spaghetti against the wall kind of thing to see what sticks. It's so much easier of a process to follow than doing that when you do this analysis and figure out what really is going to work in your business. So some examples of these may be for you, right? There are all kinds of dozens and hundreds probably of examples, but just to get you thinking, some of these may be, as I'm looking around the room, maybe you get most of your business from people referring others to you. I know we've got a BNI president here, so networking, yeah, yeah, I'm sure John, networking has a lot to do. You wouldn't be in BNI if that wasn't bringing business to you. And not just networking, but making the most of networking. The one-to-one conversations, the coffee chats that come from the networking are just so important. Teaching can be another way. Doing these kinds of workshops, webinars, maybe guest speaking or being a guest on a podcast or for a group, those can be great opportunities to get your message out before a whole lot of people. Terrific opportunity to build a business. It can be SEO. I have clients whose business is almost entirely driven by people finding them on the internet, right? Or it could be through a particular social media platform with really targeted messaging. So it could be so many things. And I'm not saying one of these is right for any of you here, but just to get you thinking, as you start thinking, what really are those activities that are leading to the business that I've received so far? Related to that, I'd love for you to just put a number one in the chat if you feel like you have a pretty good idea of what your Pareto principle activities are. You know, the 20%, those few activities, just go ahead and put a one if you feel like you've got a pretty good handle on it. And if you don't worry about it, add it a bit because that's really why we're here. Good, good. All right, we've got some ones in there. Awesome. Okay. So for those who do, that are putting in the one, who do feel like they have a pretty good handle on those, we're going to go a little bit deeper into these. What I often find, and I'm not saying this is you, but what I often find is people know what they need to be doing. They know what's most effective, but it's a different story making the time to actually do it and do it consistently. So again, I'm not saying that that's you, but regular, consistent implementation often throws people off, even when they do know what they should be doing. Now, if you don't know, how do you find out what those 20% activities are? And I have a feeling we have some people here who don't know or are maybe a little bit unsure of what they might be. So I'm going to talk about a few ways, a few suggestions for you to figure out where to be focusing your marketing time. What are those 20% activities? Number one, some of you have data. You want to look at the data. And this can be as simple as reviewing a list of your past and current clients or customers over a reasonable period of time for your business. Since we're here, we're a little past the first half of 2024, might be helpful to look at where your clients came from in this year so far. Or you may want to go back to 2023 and look at that full year. How did the majority of them hear of you? How did they come to you initially? Right? That's a very simple way of determining really where the time and focus should be focused. So it's interesting. I was having a discussion with one of my clients who is in a form of digital marketing, and she was thinking about doing a direct mail campaign. Now, actually, sometimes people think direct mail, mailers, oh my goodness, that's so old school. However, the fact that so few businesses are doing it now, it really can help some businesses because it stands out. When people get the mail, they may tend to look at it more because they're not getting as much junk mail as they used to, or at least from a digital marketer, right? They can stand out. And direct mail campaigns in certain businesses we know work. Like Colleen, I'm thinking about you. So Colleen, is it okay for me to share what you do? All right. So Colleen provides Medicare insurance, and her ideal audience is an older clientele, and she also has restrictions. She can't directly contact people through email or by phone, but what she can do is direct mail, and they can reach out to her. So Colleen, hasn't direct mail in some ways been helpful for you in your business?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
That it's probably not number one, but it certainly is an important component.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But so for this particular client who was considering this, when I asked her to think of, the most current and recent clients, what really clearly became clear was that really for her, it's the one-to-one connections. She's really more the conversational person. Her business comes from networking, from coffee chats, from referral partners, and never really had a client come from direct mail. And she had tried that in the past. So we had some data to work with, coming back to this data. So we realized then, given that this woman had such a gift for the one-to-one communications, we're like, well, let's look more at networking opportunities, going to more events, finding different groups in different areas. Given the type of work, digital marketing, she wasn't limited by geography at all. Develop relationships with current contacts more deeply, request referrals, maybe run a referral program, right? She could explore other really strong groups where her ideal client was and where networking is a big part of what they do. Thinking, here, we've got a BNI representative here. We've got other BNI people in here. There are BNI chapters everywhere, right? It only makes sense if you're in BNI to visit some other chapters where they're welcoming to people and share about your message. So for this person, what this basically came down to was focus on the strengths, focus on where the past and current clients came from, focus there, and stay away from an activity that can be expensive and had not shown results in the past. So really see how that data can help you streamline. It also shows that when you want to try something new, you want to look at that data first and maybe even experiment a little bit for a limited amount of time and see what's working. If you are thinking, because there are new methods that come out all the time, and kind of experiment and see what might work, but not put too much into it until you really want to have your ideal systems down first. Now, if you don't know where your clients and customers are coming from. So maybe you're new into business, maybe you've shifted into a new area of your business. Start asking. It can be as simple as this. One of my clients owns a very successful restaurant in the South Towns of Buffalo. And she asks each person when they pay their bill, you know, actually, I'm not seeing her on screen, but I think I'm seeing her phone here. Well, Thonda, maybe you're here by phone because I'm just about to talk about you. So you might want to pop in a little bit here too, if you don't mind. I love what you do. So, and Colleen, maybe if you could share in the chat or with Thonda directly, the direct mail company you use to help her, that would be great. But so Thonda has this great restaurant, Buffalo South Towns. And remember, for a while we were, working together to figure out where the clients were coming from. And I don't know if you still do this, but you had at the restaurant just a tracker, a clicker. So you would ask every single person where they came from. And what Thonda learned was that running weekly specials was really big for the business. I think she had Wine Wednesdays going for a while. I'm not sure if she's still doing those anymore. Text marketing was big because of the beauty of the food. She served sushi and ramen. Facebook and Instagram marketing with those visuals were really important, as well as keeping her Google business profile updated, all hugely impactful for her business. Thonda, if you, for some reason, I can't see you on the screen, but I see your phone in the chat. So if you want to unmute yourself and just talk a bit about how that helped you, just asking people, come on. If you can't, no worries. Maybe that's hard for her to do. Anyway, very, very impactful. And sometimes it's just as easy as asking. So related, on a side note here, and I apologize, sometimes I go off on these side notes, but I think they're really helpful for business owners to know. Having a Google business profile that's active is super important for most businesses. Having that optimized, requesting reviews, and regularly updating, it really makes a difference in having your business show up in searches. So it's something to think about for yourself if you have your Google business profile, if you have done some work on it, because there is so much you can do in that profile. It's almost like a social media platform now. In SRA, we go deeper into this. I have an expert who comes in and is completely up to date on all things Google because things are always changing. But he comes in the group for a training session to help the participants optimize their profiles. It's a really robust program. And then I work with you throughout the program to keep it updated so Google sees you as a viable business and keeps you recognized in those searches organically. So anyway, back to if you don't know your Pareto principle activities, we have the ask, we have the data, research. If you're new, again, this is a good one if you're newer in business. And even if you've been in a business for a while and you're shifting some things, trends shift too. It's really important to keep on top of your clients' challenges, their needs, the trends that are happening, their desires, the way people consume marketing content that changes over time. So make sure as part of your marketing efforts that you're talking to your ideal potential client customer and finding out where do they hang out, both online and in person. That's a great way to know where to connect with them and share more about the work that you do. It's a great way to find out what challenges they're facing, what solutions they're looking for, how you can help. Talk to people also who already work with your ideal client, maybe in different ways that are complementary to yours. They'll have a lot of insights as to how to reach your ideal client. So there are all kinds of ways of finding out what these Pareto principle activities are if you don't already know. And again, in SRA, we go deeper into this where we share a script for how to invite people and what questions to ask so you can really get down to good data. And people love sharing their opinions, love sharing feedback. So it's a great way to get knowledge. Another thing to think about is looking at people who are in the same industry as you. People you may consider competitors, but people who are doing similar work and who appear to be doing quite well, or maybe you hear that they're doing well. Look at what they're doing. Check out their websites, check out their social media activity, see what's working for them. Join an association of people in your industry and ask others what they found to be effective. You can go to conferences or online groups. There are so many ways to find this out, but what it takes is some intentional research and data searching before going out there. Sometimes it won't take you long. Maybe you can figure out right away where your clients are coming from, but sometimes you do need to devote some time to this to really be targeted in your activities. And once you do know, of course, ask yourself, are you focusing enough time and resources on these primary Pareto principle activities? And if not, it's time to ramp it up because you know it works. It's proven it's worked either for yourself or for others. So give it the effort that it desires before giving up on any of those kinds of efforts. So I'm curious as I'm talking about, so for the people who know their Pareto principle activities, or as you're hearing what I'm saying and you're thinking through, and maybe you have an idea, maybe you're not clear, but you have an idea, would you share in the chat what's coming to mind for you as being your primary marketing activities to focus on in your business? While you're doing that, I'll share as a coach, for me, my primary activities absolutely are networking and the one-to-one conversations that come from those, as well as from referrals, right? For some of you here, I know we have some other coaches here, private coaching services that are not inexpensive, and people need to really know and trust us before working with us. So those individual meetings are really important. All right, Brandon, networking, referrals. Networking, yep. Daniela speaking, yes. And I see you not only in, I see you in person, I see you online talking, you're on podcasts, you are at group events. Love it. I see that being really impactful for you. Bree, your booking system contact page requires people to tell me. Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay, so you're somebody that they're finding online. See what a variety is coming up here for the different people and different businesses. Um, Barb, would you share what is WOMM? I'm sorry if I'm not recognizing that. What does that stand for?
Word of mouth marketing.
Thank you. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, look at this: YouTube, newsletter, group participation, so many different things. Colleen, oh, I know, especially during open enrollments, you are the event queen, being in places where seniors congregate, conversations. Lenny, yes, update that profile. Yes, have people find you, networking, conferences, setting up vendor tables. I mean, look at that. There are probably 20 different activities here that you all have identified in the group, just verifying that one size does not fit all. So thank you for sharing those. Really appreciate that. One thing that comes to my mind as I'm looking at these answers that you're providing, and this may be, and it sounds like it actually will be unrelated to many of your top 20% activities, but I think is important, especially if you're active on social media, even if it's only for personal reasons. I recommend, if you are on social media, share what you do, share your work, at least somewhere in your profile. You never know how people may find you. I know some of you have heard this story before, but I was kind of surprised. My first client, I recently moved to Saratoga, New York, and my first client came because I posted in a Facebook group, a local community group, that I was looking for a dog sitter. You know, we're in this new area. I don't know anybody. And this guy sends me a private message and he says, hey, you know, my retired dad could help you with the dogs as long as they don't react to squirrels and pull him over. And oh, and by the way, I'm interviewing executive coaches. We should meet. So he went to my profile, he saw what I did. I replied back and I said, my dogs absolutely will pull your father over, and I don't want to injure your father in any way, but I'd love to talk with you about coaching together. And we've been coaching together ever since. So there are some situations where if it doesn't take a lot of effort, it's a good idea to update them. If you're on social media, if you're active, people pay attention to those profiles. It's free advertising. You never know when they're going to see something there. And when I think back now, I've probably gotten about 4 or 5 clients from my personal Facebook page. So I'm definitely going to be keeping that updated. So I suggest for you as well, if you're connecting with people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever that is, have somewhere where it's pretty obvious what you do and people don't have to search very far. All right, now I'd like to shift over and talk a bit more about getting strategic in your marketing. To think about where those Pareto principle activities fall within an actual structure. Now, this is a very simple structure that I have to share with you to follow. I know some of you are going to be very familiar with this. I've seen it in a whole variety of different forms. But the thing is, we so often we know these things, but we need a reminder, and we need to think about these and think if we're really on top of even these very simple structures. So this structure, I think of this as just a straight know, like, and trust structure where people, how do they know you? How do they become aware of you? And then a subset of them begin to like you and appreciate the work that you do. And then a subset of those grow to trust you so that when they reach out for a conversation or when they go onto your website, they are ready to buy because you've done such a great job connecting with them, communicating your message about what you do, sharing others' experiences that they just can't wait to work with you. And what I typically find, we'll go through those different levels. Typically, people have a gap. Like one of those levels just isn't quite as optimized as the other ones. And when that happens, there are opportunities there where people are losing potential clients and customers. So as I go through this, what I'd like you to do is think for yourself, what are those activities that fall within these categories? I know as well in the workbook, we have sections on this. You can just fill those in directly if you'd like, or just take down some notes. But we're going to start with, actually, let me get this is why I struggle with the chat. I'm always trying to move it around. Okay, so the know factor, that top level, how do people find out about you? I also call this your lighthouse. What is it, that light that is just bringing in people to you and to your business? How are they finding out about you in the first place? There are a whole lot of different examples here. There are dozens more that could be, but these really come from my experience, either myself or working with my clients. This is often how people find out about them in the first place, right? Now, we've talked about a number of these: networking, referrals, SEO. There's a few other things in here. Paid ads sometimes can be helpful. Teaching, social media. If you have a brick and mortar, having a grand opening, red ribbon cutting, signage, those kinds of things. How do people find out about you? So think for yourself, what falls within that category. There may be one or two activities. It might be that Pareto principle activity you were thinking of. One of my regular SRA participants is a realtor. She's been in business for 26 years, and most of her clients come through referrals, right up on top. That's her lighthouse. And when we first started working together, she had done a pretty decent job of keeping in contact with her past clients, but recognized in our work together that really she could do better with that. So this was last year, maybe 2022. She updated her contacts list entirely and made a concerted effort to reach out to every single one of her past clients just to check in. Nothing salesy about it, just to check in, see how they were doing. She had so many opportunities as a result of just saying, "Hey, I'm here. How are you? Can I help you in any way? Do you need a service provider?" She just came from such a giving perspective. As a result of that, this realtor surpassed her 2022 revenue in July of 2023. So halfway through 2023, she hit all of the revenue she had achieved the previous year. And I tell you what, in the Buffalo area, the real estate market has been really tough, as I'm sure it has been in other areas as well. This is not an easy business to be in, particularly if you're a buyer's realtor. So she ended up earning about 35% higher in 2023 than in 2022. She had her best year yet. And now she's on track to surpass that this year, right? Because she focused entirely on what she already knew worked for her, keeping in contact with the people who already appreciated her and loved her work, her past clients, her strong referral partners. And she also stopped doing the things that no one was paying attention to, like regularly posting on her Facebook business page that nobody was seeing anyway, right? It was stressing her out. It was taking time stressing her out. But by focusing so much on that, that was her no activity. That was her Pareto principle activity, and that worked. So, question for you, if you would put in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clear do you feel you are on knowing your key lighthouse or no factor activities? 10 being you are clear as a bell, 1 being you have absolutely no idea. If you would please share that in the chat. Okay, excuse me. All right, we have a variety of here. 0.825. I love that, John. Oh, so good, so good. We've got a couple of high numbers. Yep. Even if you're high up there, no matter where you are, my question to you would be, is what's going to get you closer to a 10? I'd love for you to think about that. Maybe that's where you need to do a little research, particularly if you're finding yourself in the mid levels or a little bit lower. Now, let's go to that next subset, that like factor, right? There's a certain subset of those lighthouse people who get to really appreciate what you do, like you more. Is at this point where you see people becoming leads to your business. This is where your email list grows with people who want to hear more from you. Now, email marketing, this is another area. Maybe it may not work for everyone. It does work pretty impactfully for a whole lot of people because you own that list. It's a great way to communicate with your people. So I do always encourage people to have that list going. So when you think about that like factor, think about what are ways that you can obtain contact information from people. So, and there's a whole variety of things here. Giveaways, sometimes they call them lead magnet. One of my mentors calls them fire freebies. I just love it. When I run a masterclass, people who may not know me, they're registering. I have their emails in exchange for giving them a couple of hours of value in their work, right? So thinking about that for yourself at that like level, What are you doing that are helping people, helping develop that relationship, getting their contact information? And it's not always that exchange of contact. Like I'm thinking for me too, this is the one-to-one conversations, right? There's no exchange of an email or anything like that, but those coffee chats, teaching, podcasts, you can see how some of these activities can carry over level to level. So think for yourself, what are those factors at that level that draw people down that system to get closer to purchasing from you? Another example, that Saratoga client that I told you about, he has a couple of businesses, but one, and he shares that we work together, so I'm not violating any privacy. Have you seen those discovery maps? Typically in touristy towns, they're kind of caricature maps of a town with, yeah, with the different buildings on there, and they usually have a box of ads around them. This guy owns the Saratoga franchise of Discovery Maps, and he makes his money by getting advertisers for the map. This guy is a genius at person to person sales. Right. He is so helpful in the community. He is constantly sharing things to do in the community with me. People love him. His genius activity that so many people despise and don't do, and frankly it's probably not effective for them as well. His genius activity is going door to door in downtown Saratoga, going up to businesses, sharing the map, talking to people, appreciating their businesses, sharing about their businesses. When he focuses his time on that, it's like sale, 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 sale. It's fabulous, right? And his like factor activity is door to door sales. So think about how different that is and how different we all have different approaches using our strengths that work for us. So I want you to think for yourself, what are those activities that you're doing that help develop that like factor where people really appreciate your work more and maybe give you their contact information? And love for you to share again on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel you're doing on that level of that those like activities? 10 being you got this down. Your email list is thousands of people. You have your people. They like you. Oh, Lenny, 0. All right. Thank you for being honest. What else here? 5, 6, 5. Okay. Okay. So this is interesting because Barb, 9, great job. I do typically find that this is an area where people do need more help and more support. And it's also an important area. So having identified that for any of you, if you're mid-level or below, know that this is an area to focus on, to think through, to maybe test out some things, to see what other people are doing, talk to your ideal clients. That's an area for you to work on and consider. And then that third level, that trust factor. So from that like level, you have a subset of people um, who will start to trust you. So they are just ready to buy from you. And there are certain activities that really build that trust level. And I've mentioned some of them here. I think the biggest one is the social proof, the reviews. I think about Bree, when people are finding you online, they're looking at your Google reviews. They're probably looking at Facebook reviews. Sometimes people are looking at LinkedIn recommendations, testimonials, case studies. These are fantastic ways sharing what people are saying, asking people for these. Sometimes people are so scared to ask others for information, for a review, and people are so willing to give it. So think about that for yourself. This can also be nurturing people by providing more value through newsletters, social media, engaging in groups. One of my clients runs a day spa, and last year, when we were doing this analysis, I asked her where most of her newer clients were coming from. And she said, "Oh, they're finding us all online." And I said, I'm like, well, are you, your Google business profile? Have you been keeping that optimized? She had no idea. We pulled it up. Luckily, she had one. She had 38 5-star reviews. She didn't even know were there. Check out your Google business profiles. You may have reviews you don't even know are there. So I tell you what, she spent a lot more time there updating it, photos, posting about events, posting about new specials, and more people were finding her. So just another, don't mean to keep pushing for Google, but again, it just talks about that trust level and how important that is. So think about this as well for you on that trust level. Sorry about that. Oh, nice time for a contractor to show up. Sorry, guys. All right. But you just love it when somebody just stops by unannounced. Uh, what were we talking about? Trust factor. Give me the rating. 1 to 10. Where do you feel you are on the trust rating, and where could you spend a little more time developing that a little bit more? Let's see what we have here. Oh, good, 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 good. Oh, no problem at all, Lori. Thank you for coming. Um, this is really good to hear. So keep up what you're doing for people who have the higher ratings. Keep asking. I have a feeling that for those who are a little bit lower, you're probably just not asking for the social proof or just not getting out there quite enough. So I bet you know what needs to be done to move those numbers up, but it's really great to see those. Yeah, Allison, ask for those testimonials. Absolutely. So you may notice as I've been asking you to rate these on 1 to 10, I haven't been asked, I've been asking you how clear you are on what you need to do, but I really haven't been asking you how well you're implementing those marketing activities on those different levels. Like I said, with almost every client, I find there are gaps here. And really the important thing is to notice where that gap is. And just like we talked about, when you look at those list of activities, you know, what are those areas that you can just improve on, just make a little bit better to get you just a little bit closer to a 10. It isn't it isn't that complicated. It just takes a little analysis of your own situation. And if you're staying for the Q&A, I'm happy to talk through some of your individual situations with you as well. Now, in the SRA that I keep mentioning, I'll meet with you before the program even begins for 90 minutes to help identify exactly what those gaps are, clarify those activities and the frequency needed so you know exactly what to work on over those 90 days to jumpstart your revenue. I want to share real briefly before I get to the final section here a bit about SRA for your information. So some things here. This is a program I run. It's it runs for 90 days and it's focused on just what the title says, accelerating revenue. So here are some of the results that people have achieved through the program that really blew me away. When I started this, I had no idea of the data that we were going to find and really how impactful this was going to be. So we had just some that stand out. I won't read all of these, but we had 3 participants in the first quarter program who really shattered all expectations. They surpassed their entire 2023 revenue within the first quarter of 2024. That was huge. Many people have reported having their best quarter ever in their business in the program. In one group, we had this one. I was so impressed with it because this participant had some health issues right in the middle of the program. Even with that, she achieved 154% of her financial goal despite taking a month off. And that was after she hit 115 the previous cohort. When I do these cohorts, I don't have people share their actual dollar amounts. I know what those are, but for purposes of the group, for privacy issues and because people know each other, a lot of times they were from the Buffalo area, they just track their progress to goal. So that's why I'm showing percentages here and not numbers themselves. But I think the percentages themselves are pretty darn impressive, including the fact that many people kept coming back for additional cohorts because they were really seeing the value. So how this runs, it is as soon as someone joins up, you have immediate access to my weekly marketing action calls. So every Tuesday we get online and people work in a focused way on marketing activities. You get that time for an hour. You get that 90-minute strategy session with me that I mentioned, a free seat at my half-day quarterly planning. And then it's really intensive support. I am a partner to people in the program all along the way with weekly training, check-ins, accountability, The support from the other members is incredible. I know we have some people here that can vouch for that. It really is a phenomenal group. So I know I want to get to this last section of the program, but I do want to share this with you. There is these bonuses are available and a discount. And if you would like more information about this, please just schedule a call with me. You've received notifications about the clarity calls. Even if you're not interested in SRA, please still schedule a clarity call so I can help you, even one-to-one, talk through what are some of these marketing activities and help get you on track for where you need to be going forward in your business in the upcoming months. All right, so last part I would like to get into is, this is key, tracking. You have your plan, just like that farmer. You know you need to be consistent. And the best way I have found to do this is to track. Know your numbers. Set your weekly goals for your activities. Set your daily goals for your activities, whether it be number of conversations, number of posts, your outreach goals, whatever those numbers are. Set a goal and track them. I'll show you just a couple of quick examples of these. This is actually my checklist that I print out every single week. This is a subset of what we use in the SRA program where I've identified my top activities. Now I have my marketing activities on top and my personal management activities on the bottom. I'm going to talk more about those tomorrow, but it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. You set these goals and then you track them and see if you hit them. And if you don't, you make up for it the next week. We use a daily activity tracker. This thing is so impactful. What's the most important thing you can do today that'll move your business forward? And then what are the primary activities you'll do today to focus on immediately? I also include productivity and mindset here. Again, we'll talk about those more tomorrow. But even having a simple sheet like this can be so helpful in staying consistent in your activities. So I really encourage you to, once you determine those activities, to also make sure you're consistent through tracking. All right. Hopefully you can stay on just a couple of minutes more. I kind of lost track of the time for a second. I've only got about 2 more minutes left to go. I want to share the prize opportunity that I mentioned before. Don't know why I took this down. So hopefully you're either already in the Streamline Business Strategies Facebook group, or if you're not, you followed the link so that you're part of that group. Please join that group and consider this one question and answer it in the post in the group. What actions will you take this week? And I mean by the end of this week. It's Wednesday, got a couple more days. Maybe you can do something on the weekend to improve your marketing efforts. So think about all of those different areas that I talked about. What is the one thing you'll do? Answer that in the Facebook group. And tomorrow on the call, I'm going to do a raffle and I'm going to choose one of the people that submitted their homework and you'll get a $25 Amazon gift card. All right, so give that some thought and go ahead and put that in the group. Tomorrow, we're going to be covering the second 2 M's, the management of self and mindset. You don't have to wait for tomorrow to set up that clarity call with me. I really encourage you to do that now, and I'll help you put into action right away what you're learning during this program. All right, so thanks everybody for sticking with me. No, we went a little bit, just a little bit over, but now I am going to open it up for Q&A. So for those who want to stay, who have questions or just want to listen to the discussion, please stay on. If you need to leave, I completely understand. And you can feel free to come tomorrow and ask your question or go ahead and post in the Facebook group. Lenny, you want me to, which slide were you interested in seeing, Lenny?
Oh, the homework thingy.
Oh, you got it. There's the homework thingy. And there is going to be a post in the group that has the question as well. Kevin's going to take care of us on that. And I should introduce Kevin as my right-hand man. Kevin is amazing. He's here helping everything behind the scenes. He helps me do everything behind the scenes in my business. I'm so grateful to you, Kevin, and all your support. Okay. Are you good, Lenny?
I'm good. Good. Yeah, I took a quick photo of it. Yeah. Thanks.
Perfect. 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 Thank you so much, John. Awesome. I'm glad you're benefiting from it. All right, so tell me some questions. What's coming up for you guys? How can I help you? Oh, and Thonda, it's good to see you. I see you're live here now. I hope you don't mind me talking about you, but I just love everything about you and your restaurant. By the way, Thonda is now a franchisor. She is franchising her business so other people can open up Lime houses all over. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so if you have a question, just raise your Zoom hand. Yes, Allison.
Okay, so I like presenting. I've had 3 or 4 big opportunities where I presented to groups of 40 or more, and I have had 0 results as far as anybody even reaching out. Even tried the QR code with book a free for, consultation, nothing. One was to chiropractors, one was to a group of mid-level business people. And I'm sorry about the beeping noise and all the noise.
Can't even hear it.
The trolley just showed up. And yeah, so I'm just getting nothing from that. I love presenting. People all say yes, yes, yes. Everything you said is 100% true. And I even had one chiropractor in the bathroom say, we know all that, we just don't do it, which is the whole point, right? It's like, so I'm just a little discouraged with presenting for the sake of presenting, writing articles for the sake of writing articles on LinkedIn, which all have a really good following. And people say the content's dead on, but I'm just not getting anywhere with it. So I just, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts on that. Sometimes it just takes a couple of tweaks to the way you're presenting, in terms of, there's a certain art to selling from the stage where, and some people are really nervous about doing any selling, and sometimes you're not allowed to. Sometimes if a group brings
Yeah.
you in, they'll tell you not to, and then you've got to get extra creative. But it may be just inserting more information about how you help people. Maybe I mean, I haven't heard it, so I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Maybe sharing more success stories. Another thing that I'm thinking though is maybe don't invite people to a call. Use the QR code to invite them to a valuable lead magnet, a
Oh,
workbook,
right.
something that
Yeah, I
would
think I'll
be
try
really
that.
helpful to them and follow up. Because that way
Mhm.
you have their contact information. You can say, oh my gosh, it was so good having you at that program. And I see you were interested in this.
That's a
Did
great
you get
idea.
value from this? It's a great way to open up a conversation just a couple of steps down.
Yeah, because I have zero email list. I have lots of emails, but no, and we'll talk about this some more, but a lot of
Yeah,
emails, but no permission to use them for marketing. So I got a little stumped on that with MailChimp when they said, oh, you have to have permission. Well, how do you get it in the first place? So I know
no,
lots of
if
people
somebody,
don't ask me for
right.
permission when they,
And that's not right. Yeah, absolutely. Don't do that. It's
yeah.
implied consent if somebody gets a product from you, gets
Right.
something online from you. Brandon actually has a great system that I've learned from him, on my Calendly. What Brandon does is he puts on the calendar when people are setting up a call. May I add you to my email list for additional valuable information? So I start doing that. I have yes, no, or already on your mailing list, and I
Mhm.
almost every week I get more people that way. I love that idea, Brandon. Brandon brought that up in SRA. It's so helpful to everyone there. So that's another thing I think anybody can use if you're using an online scheduler. Ask people if you can add them to your list. Okay, thanks for coming, Bree. It was great to have you here. Lenny.
The email list thing, you can also, instead of asking them to, this is, living in Europe and GDPR and all of that you can just inform them that by signing up or going on your website, they consent to you reaching out to them. So they don't actively have to say yes or no. But the rules are a little bit different in Europe. So it depends if you want to, market to people in Europe, but there's a way to go around that. The GDPR is a really stupid thing. I've never received so much marketing in my life. So after GDPR came into our life. So it's a tricky, slippery slope, the whole thing. But just for you, Allison, there are ways to get people on your list and making it
Mhm.
simple.
Thanks.
I do love what you said, though. Personally, I like to give people the option of saying yes or no. Just know that there is another way as well, if that makes sense.
And I really appreciate, Allison, that you said that you don't appreciate people just adding you to their list. I don't appreciate that either. If there hasn't been some kind of exchange or somebody asking, and it is so easy to ask, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
they
Kevin,
already signed up to be on a call with you, they've already
oh,
given consent.
well, in here they actually even more so. It's direct consent
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
click that box for me.
yeah,
That's what I'm looking for.
yeah.
And Kevin, I don't know. I know you do a lot of this work. Do you have any other ideas around that? Sorry to put you on the spot there.
I'm sorry, are you talking to who?
I was just talking to Kevin, but if anyone else has a question, I think Kevin might be having a little trouble getting off mute, but and I may have just totally put him on the spot. So let's just move on to other questions. And Kevin, if you want to answer, just raise your hand.
I have a question about testimonials, and I can't figure out the hand sign on my Mac computer. So this is why
Oh,
I'm doing this.
we're just no, you don't even have to do that. Just raise your real
Okay.
hand. Yeah, yeah. So what's up on the
So
testimonials?
testimonial. So I have a bunch of testimonials on my website and on LinkedIn, and it's all good and all of that. But I do find it challenging when I ask people for testimonial. A lot of people will say, absolutely, yes, and this work we've done is so great, and they, full of all the good things. And then life keeps getting in the way, and this testimonial is not coming. So there are two things here. Going after them feels uncomfortable because they are giving this to me, and I don't want to, bug them about it. And the other thing is to get a testimonial that actually makes sense.
Hmm.
So not just sort of, oh, this coach was so amazing, blah, 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 but to have them write something that highlights the value of the work that we do.
I think a lot of people don't do testimonials for two reasons. Number one, just like you said, they get really, really busy in life. They mean to, they forget. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a reminder. But secondly, they don't know what to say. They're very happy, but even just getting it started is tough. So I think if you'd provide them with even some kind of brief framework, just here are some questions you could consider answering in this testimonial. And it could be something like, Lenny, with you being a coach, where were you when we started our work together? What was your situation? What results did you achieve through our work together? How are you feeling now that you've achieved those results? Giving them some prompt questions to go off of can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they would just write the answer to that, and then you would sort of formulate the testimonial from their answers.
Yeah, yeah. And look, Barb, I don't know, can you come on? Just take yourself off mute to talk about what you use.
Right. So I actually developed a Google form that's just a series of open-ended questions that are asking specifically what I'm looking for. And then I can take the stuff that they're doing, and I know what service that we did together, and create a different kind of testimonial and social proof snippets that I pull out of that. And so I can use their words in a lot of ways because, they can answer in full sentences, which they frequently do, and then go on from there to just get exactly what I need. And so it's not going to be that cute little blurb that's on, Google, but because my business is pretty much 100% online, I can't have that profile anyway. So it doesn't matter. And a lot of my clients are not on social platforms like LinkedIn. And so that's not an option anyway. And so having this other form lets me do that. The other thing I like about just collecting it in a form like that is that in a spreadsheet, I have that whole collection of all of the different answers for certain kinds of questions. So that lets me quickly isolate out in open-ended answer format that I then have to code differently. But, you know, what are people struggling with, so that then I can use that to market better, you know, as I get more data from those specific targeted questions.
That's
Beautiful.
brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, that is so helpful. I use a survey as well after most of my programs, and often you can get some really great value. And then, of course, ask the person if you can use them. Another thing to keep in mind
So
is
I was going to
timing.
say quickly, I don't wait until we're done. My form is called "We Love Working with You." And so it's got this blurb at the top that's like, hey, I know we're still, you know, working together and probably not done, or, you know, maybe we'll have another project in the future, but I'd love to get this feedback from you. And so it's an easy way to send it out. And then there's still that extra accountability of they're going to see me again. And then they feel that kind of social internal pressure to answer. And so that can help too.
That's
And,
great.
that was to my point of timing, because it's also really helpful when somebody's had a big win to ask at that point for, you know, would you be willing to share something about how impactful this has been for you on your business? So thinking about that timing, and yeah, I love that, Barb, asking for it even if it's not something related to that, but midway where they've received results, right? There's something to share and they'll continue to work with you. Great suggestions. Thank you. Lenny, is that helpful?
Yeah, I'm writing like crazy over here. Thank
Can I
you.
add in something?
Yes, Thonda, please go ahead.
I work with at the customer, so at the restaurant, so I see the customer all the time. So at the end of the night, I have a sushi left over from the case. You know, at the end of the night, I give it away to the customers or the employees, or we take it home and eat. So I always tell the customer, hey, do you like the food? Make sure they enjoy your service and food. If they say looks like if they really enjoy it, I give them take home some sushi and I ask them in return, hey, can I get 5-star review? Only if you like it. You know, you make fun and jokes, and I built that relationship like that, and they always do. I got 5-star. Sometimes I got like 7, 8 5-star a day. I was like, my people. I mean, I had to teach my girls like you have to do it every day. And I also have another thing at work is I have this called like green card. So once people come in, I always ask them, hey, do I have your information? Do you sign up our email program? If you would like to sign up, we send out coupon every month. So my coupon is like $3, $5. So when they're cashing out, I give them a green card and I fill it in my computer. And now I'm in my business in 2 years, almost 2 years. I have like 15,000 emails. So I send them like every week, like newsletters and text. But text is a little cost money. Email is better. So like Barb said, you can't wait too long. You gotta, once they're in your house, you gotta get them. So that's how I got them. I have now 600 reviews in my Google, and I use my Canva account and I created like our company logo, and I try to post it every week or a couple of times a month, like just copy and paste what they wrote about you with the 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd say too, Barb, to your point, even having an online business, the Google business profile can be still super helpful for that. I find that for mine. So just and look at that. I mean, Thonda, that's amazing on 600 plus. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Brandon, I saw your hand up earlier. Was that a question or a comment? I'm so sorry I didn't catch you earlier.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I was gonna make a comment, but you guys kind of basically touched base on it about ask for those reviews right up front and make it as easy as possible. Um, Another thing is kind of coach them on what you want them to say. Like you don't have to say type this in, but telling them like, hey, I helped you with or I'm glad I was able to help you with your business coaching. Could you tell me what you liked most about it in a review? I'd really appreciate that. So then they're actually typing in the keywords that are going to mean something to both people and
Oh, shoot. He just froze up.
Moment of suspense.
No. Hopefully he'll come back.
Mm.
Well, you know what happened, Brad. I know you know when you
Yeah.
freeze. We just missed the end of that.
Yeah, just highlighting those keywords triggers that in people's minds. Hey, that's what I'm looking for too, and they help them. And then also just the value of Google with the keyword of, hey, here's what you're doing. We're going to show it to more people looking for this. That's all. So
Yeah. I'm thinking too, Lenny, sometimes when you have a client who just has a big win, I don't know, I bet you have people every once in a while who check in and they're like, oh my God, this happened. I'm so excited. The Saratoga guy will send me a text and pictures. He's like, I got this one. He's right in front of the shop. And I started asking him, can I share this? And now he sends me these things and he's like, go ahead and put it on social media before I even have to ask.
Oh, that's
So there may be
amazing.
times too, where somebody emails you and they're like, "Oh, I'm so happy," and you can say, "Hey, can I share this? I can make it anonymous, or if you're okay with being identified, but just, using your words. And this is beautiful." So it's really authentic, and they're in the moment.
I love that idea. And where I stop is that in my coaching, it's all about my client. It's not about me. So
Okay.
whatever win they have, and I do realize that their win can be inspiring to someone else. I get
Yeah.
that. But it feels like it's my agenda instead of theirs. So there is a yes and because I love what you say. And I'm going to think about ways to do that that feels um I need to be in integrity with it.
Good.
So I need to find
Absolutely.
my way in that because the other side of this is I have clients and they say, can you please be more visible? More people need to know about you. So there's that as well. So I need to figure my way into that and see where if it's a block or if it's something else.
Now you really have
Thank
to
you for
be in
that. Yeah,
authenticity with that. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, did you have a comment on that too? Shoot.
Keeps freezing and keeping us.
I know, right? Very suspenseful.
Yeah.
But at least he froze in a handsome way.
good. That's good. The words are forever lost. It was along those lines. There's a health coach that I follow, and she kind of does posts similar to that. She doesn't really sell herself. She just promotes what her clients have achieved. So a lot of times it's this person had this transformation in their life and cheering them on and highlighting them, and that's what you gain from it. But really, people are like, if she was able to help them get that, I want that too. And so there's not the I'm promoting myself kind of aspect to it. They're just seeing, and because other people had that success with her, they're contacting her to find out more. So um, that might be an alternative use of being able to do that. So
That's great. Can
Love
you
that.
share who this is?
yeah, Cindy Trow, she's a fitness coach, I believe. I'll see if I can get a link on Facebook. Then you
Okay.
can go kind of check out her profiles and see. She's always, and if you like and stuff, another thing she does is reach out to you too, like, oh, hey, thank you for celebrating this person with me. They did a really great job. And then that kind of breaks the ice with talking to people as well, without it being like, hey, you want to work with me? I saw you liked my post. You're just kind of thanking people and it's coming across in a real positive way. So
Hmm, that's good.
Really smart.
I like
Love
that.
those ideas. All right. Do you feel good for now, Lenny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
I know I make this
Okay.
more complicated than it is, and it's also a language thing. It would be just easier if everybody spoke English, I think.
Allison, enjoy the rest of your vacation. Thanks for popping on. All right. Anybody else? All right, let's wrap things up then. Thanks so much for joining me today. It was so good to see all of your familiar and friendly faces and smiles and great questions and great feedback. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow. If not, there will be a recording. So have a great rest of your day and hope to see you then.
Thank you,